Hey friends, happy Thursday and welcome to another episode of Reinvent and Rediscover, where we talk all things the in-between and how to really transform your life to have your dream life and be the best version of yourself. I'm your host, Ava Laurie, and this week I want to start a new series, the Reinvention Diaries. The reason that this series came to mind for me was a couple months ago, I kind of hit a pivotal point in my life where I felt like something absolutely has to change. You know, when you are just so unhappy with the way that your life is going, you know that you're capable of more, and you feel as though you're letting life pass you by because you don't know how to access the things that you are dreaming of. And that's how I felt, because I felt so low for so long. And I remember specifically telling my family for my 25th birthday when they were asking, oh, like, what do you want for your birthday, as most families ask you. And the only thing I told them was that I wanted my life to be better. I wanted to feel more aligned with my life. I wanted to feel overall happier, because at that point I felt so low for so long and so out of alignment that I just wanted things to start turning around. And I think the moment when I realized that and really took charge towards changing my life and being able to pinpoint the things that were no longer serving me, that is when I was really able to pivot. And you can sit for months, years, feeling dissatisfied and out of alignment, or you can feel that way for a shorter amount of time and really change your narrative. I'm sitting outside today, if you're on video, and I guess the lighting is being a little weird, but it's a beautiful day in November. Anyways, let's carry on. So what made me really flip the narrative, and I think a lot of people can probably agree with this, is feeling stuck inside of your own mind and consistently playing it small, not taking those big risks, because a lot of people feel deep down unworthy or undeserving of bigger and greater success. A lot of people feel like it's unfathomable or that they don't deserve it to have their dream job or to have more money coming in. A lot of people subconsciously feel undeserving of a lot of great things that life has to offer, and it makes you small. So it's quite literally blocking your ability to achieve those things. You're blocking your blessings by playing it small and feeling smaller than you really are, and not taking the chances on yourself and not going for the things that scare you. And that all comes down to imposter syndrome. And that's what this whole episode is about. The beginning of this series, the Reinvention series, we're talking about imposter syndrome today. And don't fret, because apparently 70% of people experience imposter syndrome in their life. But the ones who make it out and tap into the other side of that and step into their confidence and their true ability to have and achieve whatever they want, it's all really a reframe of your mindset and stepping into the person you want to become. It is very natural and normal to feel insecure when you are going for things that feel bigger than yourself, but it is so essential that you realize the things that you want, or the things that somebody else has that you think is unachievable for you or that you are undeserving of. There is no difference between you and them other than the fact that they went for it anyways. Even when they felt like they weren't capable or they were unsure, they went towards it full force and decided they would figure it out along the way. And looking back on my life, I have played it small most of my life. I felt undeserving of a lot of things. And it's kind of hard to come to that realization because part of me feels guilt, or I'm kind of mourning what I could have if I combated imposter syndrome earlier, if that makes sense. And that's okay. I guess it's part of growing and learning and taking lessons from your life. But the cool part about coming out on the other side is that now I've kind of opened this portal of opportunity where there's endless opportunity, and my mind is not going to hold me back anymore, because I don't want to be a victim to my mind. I don't want to be a prisoner to my mind. I don't want to play it small. I want to see what I'm capable of. I want to see what's out there that I'm also allowed to have, like anyone who has been more successful than me in the past. I also did a little bit of research on imposter syndrome because I was really curious where it came from. For me, I can remember since being very young struggling with it. Throughout school, I always felt like I was dumber than I actually was. When it came to applying for colleges, I did not think I was capable of going to a more prestigious school. Or when it came to picking my major, I chose something that I felt like I was capable of, or that would come easily or naturally to me, rather than going full force towards what I actually wanted to do. When I wrote multiple books and published them myself, part of me still felt like they weren't deserving of being on the bookshelves at a Barnes & Noble. And that subconsciously held me back from really marketing my books and standing firm and confident behind everything I had written and created. And all of this comes down to the fact that your upbringing can play a big role into developing imposter syndrome. Maybe your parents diminished your accomplishments growing up. And a lot of times people don't realize when they are diminishing accomplishments. Sometimes it can look like indifference. Maybe you told your parents that you got an A on an exam that you kind of struggled studying for and they didn't seem to care. Or you got some sort of achievement and maybe people around you seemed indifferent. And it kind of numbed your brain to accomplishments, that you're not able to feel excited for them anymore because you never felt like you deserved it anyways, so it feels kind of indifferent. I felt like that when I graduated college. Like I didn't really care because it was so hard for me to recognize the achievement, if that makes sense. Even though for me as a first generation student, it was a big deal. It was a big deal for my family to kind of break those chains and break that, there's a bug on my computer, to break through that barrier that we have had. Another thing could be the opposite almost, where you had extremely high achieving parents who almost made you feel like anything you did would never amount to what they have already achieved. So it made you feel like you were always pushing the goalpost and always had to shoot higher and more for them to be proud and recognize what you did. Maybe you had parents with inconsistency in regard to their emotions, celebrations, lack thereof. You didn't know whether or not they would be excited for you or care, or maybe degrade you in some way. Maybe there was some inconsistency with emotional regulation inside your home. Maybe you always struggled with being different from your peers, whether that be being a minority, being a woman, anything that maybe set you apart. Feeling different can be very isolating, and feeling away from the crowd can feel like your accomplishments don't mean as much as other people. Another thing, social media. The influence of social media, especially on Gen Z, has been astronomical. And I know so many people have talked about the effects of social media and growing up on social media in so many different ways and how it's affected us in different ways. But I think it's created a very deep imposter syndrome because we constantly see how much better other people's lives are, how much more other people accomplish. We have access to way too much knowledge and information about other people's lives and achievements. So it can feel hard to celebrate yourself, or to recognize spider, or to recognize, okay, maybe I shouldn't flip the camera down. Edit that out. Maybe it can be hard to recognize your achievements because you are chasing somebody else's dream, or you are chasing somebody else's life, and it's not yours. So it's causing you to constantly feel like what you are doing is not enough. Another thing, your setting plays a role into imposter syndrome. If you're in classes with a bunch of people who are seemingly smarter than you, working with a bunch of senior people who have been in the company longer, or constantly around people who are high achievers, while yes, it can be extremely inspiring, it can make you feel like an imposter, or that you don't deserve to be around them, you don't belong, and that crowd, you don't belong there. But here's the thing with all of that, is that you can reframe that. Like, okay, I'm the only woman, let's say, in this classroom full of men, or in a male-dominated field. That actually kind of gives you the upper hand to prove what you're made of and to really stand out. You can use being different and standing out as an ability to be a much higher achiever and find more success. Rather than playing it small, you can actually let the light shine on you and stand up and really shine. You don't have to go hide because the spotlight is on you. Use it and run with it. I think unlearning growing up in certain households can be very difficult. There's a lot of things that our parents passed to us when we were younger that doesn't mean that they meant to do it. They didn't realize what they were creating within you. But it's important to, when you notice these things come up, reframe it and think about viewing it differently. One thing I've been doing recently is kind of blocking off my emotions sometimes. And I know maybe that sounds bad because I'm someone who is super in touch with my emotions, but whenever I feel undeserving or unsure, I just have to turn that off and think out loud. Like, no, I deserve this. I am capable of this. I should be allowed to have this. I deserve it. That comes all the way down to getting a job. I applied for jobs that I was not necessarily qualified for. You know why? I want to learn more. I want to grow more. I want to see what I'm capable of. So if I only play it with what I already know and what I know I'm capable of, I'm actually not growing at all because I'm staying right here in my comfort zone, what I already know. I'm not expanding my circle. My mantra, do it scared. Do everything scared. I started pitching my books to more literary agents, to more local bookstores. One of them actually offered me to have a whole signing event at their bookstore. I had to decline because I was moving from New Jersey. But you never know what opportunities are for you when you start playing it bigger and you step into who you want to be. I think after listing where your imposter syndrome may have came from, I think it's really good to actually reflect and pinpoint where you think it all stems from, because that's been really helpful for me to move forward from it, to step out on the other side. And on top of that, celebrating more accomplishments, making things a bigger deal now. Also allowing people to celebrate me. I feel like when I was younger, I was so timid because I didn't like to be celebrated. It felt awkward. Birthdays, especially. I used to hate birthdays. I don't hate them now because I allow people to celebrate me. In fact, I'll tell people this is what I want, and this is what cake I want, and this is what I want to do, and I want these people involved. It's important that you give people the opportunity to celebrate your accomplishments and make them known. I think the more you make known what you are achieving, the easier it is to escape imposter syndrome, because people are going to start celebrating you, people are going to be excited for you, you're going to feel the love, and that's going to allow you to feel more deserving and feel more confident about the things that you are accomplishing. So let people in your life know about your wins, even if they're small. Let more people know about what you're doing and achieving. I think Another way to kind of get out of the imposter syndrome is to take other people off of the pedestal you put them on. A lot of times we inherently believe that people with more success or more money than us are better than us. Or that's something I have struggled with a lot in my life, is thinking, oh, they're better than me. That's why they have that. They're actually not. We're equal. They just were able to tap into their confidence, tap into their abilities, and run towards it. So I can actually learn a lot from them. And not having them on a pedestal makes things seem a lot more achievable. And it makes me feel a lot more capable of achieving what they might have. Remember that everyone who has achieved success in any way has had to put in hard work. So you can put in the hard work too. You're capable of that. Nobody has a shortcut to success, so don't expect yourself to have the shortcut to success either. Perhaps you need to stop consuming so much of other people's achievements and be more invested in your own. Maybe that. I've spent so much time feeling either jealousy for writers being discovered on TikTok and resisting wanting to market my book that way, that part of it was because I felt like, oh, it's not going to work for me. It's not going to work out for me. But when you step out of that mindset and think, wow, that's actually a really good way to do things, like I can achieve that too, and stop consuming all of that, it can allow you to invest in yourself more. Lastly, be mindful of the way your brain is reacting to whenever you achieve something. It's important to be mindful of your brain's natural reaction to any of life's events. I've talked about this for so many different things when it comes to reframing your mindset, is being able to clock when your brain is not automatically thinking the thoughts that you want it to think. Your thoughts are so powerful, and if your brain is feeding you negative thoughts whenever you or someone else achieves something, then you are further pushing the narrative that you are undeserving of great success. Instead, you need to be telling yourself that I deserve this, I can achieve this, I am capable as well, and keep feeding your brain these thoughts. I always try to be as delusional as possible because that's going to allow me to achieve that. Like, I have this delusional, crazy dream. You know what? It's possible because I fully believe that it is. But I have to keep constantly pushing those negative thoughts out in the insecurity. Insecurity will creep in so quietly. Push that out and keep pushing. I hope this episode was helpful and the first episode of the Reinvention Diaries, the series I am starting. And I just want to give you a big hug and a big clap, big pat on the back for everything that you have achieved and not celebrated thus far. I hope you find better ways to celebrate your successes and feel like you are capable of anything you want, because you are. You are capable of achieving your dream life. And I will see you in the next episode of Reinvent and Rediscover. Until next time, live passionately. Bye.